Islam. All right, we back. We back again. Man. Okay, for some reason, this is like the third time, hopefully third time's the charm. But we gonna do this live. It's late. We coming at you live from the basement, not trying to wake up family, but we're gonna share something very important. So I wanna thank everybody for tuning in. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but that's us, you know. Hey, we just keep it moving. We keep rolling with it. Okay? So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank you for hitting like and for sharing the video. The information we're going to get into is powerful, is important. This is a master key. Okay, and glad everybody's tuned in. Okay, so we good. Okay, we good. And so make sure you hit like and share. If you saw what we tried to speak about earlier, you know this is going to be important and powerful, right? And when I say master key, I'm not making this stuff up. This is real. This is powerful. This is what you need to figure out. Forget what everybody else is talking about, okay? All right. And so the title is All is Mind, the Universe is Mental. And you will understand why we're saying that in a second. First and foremost, we always give honors, praise to the Most High, Father of the Universe, Allah. We also give honors to our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for bringing us our divine creed. We also give honors to the forerunner to the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We give honors to the first appointed Supreme Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and that's the brother E. Millie Ill. If you haven't heard about him, you definitely need to look him up. Check out a temple, get in there, get some learning, find out about what this whole Moorish nationality is really about if you don't know. And also, we give honors to the current Supreme Grand Sheik, D. Billy L. We give honors to all members in leadership, all the members of the temple. We give honors to everyone out there basically living by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Okay, we give honors to all the Moors out there, all the Moorish Americans, regardless of whether you're in the Moorish Science Temple of America or not. Honors to you and honors to everyone out there living love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, right? And okay, so yeah, the title is All Is Mind. The universe is mental, and that might sound out there and crazy and woo woo or whatever you want to say for some people, and that's why I wanted to make this, because like people that's on my personal page, you'll see that like for the most part, that's all I do is share like uplifting, for the most part, like positive, um, you know, I guess you could say like inspirational quotes. And the reason is because like I know this is real. The power of the mind. Okay? For the most part, most of us don't really have a true understanding or grasp on what the mind really is. You might think it's that gray matter, right? The brain, the physical brain. We don't really know what the mind is. Okay, so we're gonna speak on that. And why I'm saying things like thoughts are things. Your thoughts control your reality. You control your reality, right? I mean, come on, let's be real. People are not trying to hear this, right? And especially if you're going through any kind of struggle, any kind of what you call it, any kind of hardships. You're sick, struggling financially. You're not trying to hear that stuff. You're definitely not trying to hear that it's your fault you're going through that. And you're not trying to hear that it's your thoughts that's doing it to you. Yeah, right. Right? You're not trying to hear that. And that's another thing. It's not good enough just to watch this video. It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter who's saying this. It doesn't matter if you've seen movies like The Secret. What the bleep do we know? Did we know? What the bleep do you know? However, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if you're seeing this stuff. It doesn't matter what you've read, who's saying it. It's not real until you've made it real, until you've put this into action and know that it's real. And when I say it, what I mean, when I was speaking on the mind earlier and how we don't really know what the mind is, the mind isn't the brain. The mind isn't even really in the body. You don't know that that's real until you do it for you. It's just like me. I can't really tell you about spirituality and make it real for you. I can share my experience or share what I think I know, and you can, you know, take it and put it into action in your own life and see that it's real for you. But you can't listen, and that's good enough. You can't read it, and that's good enough. You can't go to church or the mosque or the temple or synagogue or whatever, and that's going to be good enough, right? You have to actually get some quiet space and meditate or whatever you need to do to activate your pineal gland, right? So that you can connect to the infinite, so that you know that this whole thing about this universal mind and being connected to everything and God being within you is real, right? It's just talk. It doesn't matter, because there's some know-it-alls. There's some people who's on it, who's trying to study and learn, and it doesn't matter. Okay, you can read the Kabbalah like 50,000 times, and it's not going to matter unless you do it. There's people who've never even read it, who've connected, and you know, and that's how you know it's real. I'm not speaking on this. Now, this is not just me speaking. This is my experience. I can tell you what I know is real. I don't think it's real. I didn't hear that it's real. I didn't read that it's real or hear someone speaking on YouTube. This is what I know from my experience, but it's not good enough for you. You have to do it for yourself. So you open your pineal gland consciously, and you consciously connect to the universal mind. And that's how you know Allah is real. God, the Lord, the universal mind. At this point in time, when you get to that level, none of that stuff really matters, the name, right? But that's how you know that it's real. You have to consciously connect to everything, all right? To the Godhead, all right? And that's how you know thoughts are things. That's how you know that you do control your reality. And that's how you know in the Bible, which we're going to look at in Exodus chapter 3, verse 13, or verse 14, right? 13 and 14, when Moses is speaking to God, and he's saying, you know, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? Now, what did Allah tell Moses his name was? What did the Lord say? And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. All right? He said, I am that I am. Okay? So God's telling you right here, his holy name, his sacred name is I am. Right? I am. And so whatever you say after I am, it better be uplifting. It better be, you know, empowering. Right? Right? If you're tiny, you better say, I am big, I am strong, if that's what you're trying to do, right? Right? It better be empowering, uplifting, you know, because you're speaking a sacred name. This is the name of the Most High, right? I am. I am is incarnated in everything, even the blades of grass, right? In the Holy Koran, from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he says that even when you step on the creeping things, the worms, and you know, you're shaking the throne of Allah, you know, right? Because the I am is in its all. It's in all of it, because it's the universal mind. Okay? And so in there, in Exodus, God is telling Moses, I am. That's my name. I am. I am. So whatever you say after I am, you know, if you're putting limit, you can't place limits on the limitless. You can't, you know, say I am and then say sick. You can't say I am and then say broke, you know, right? You can't do that. That's a sin. That's a cardinal sin. You cannot try to place limits on the limitless, the infinite. The infinite is in you. And so whenever you say I am, you're speaking the sacred name of the Most High. And you need to take that seriously. You are about to speak the name of the Most High. You have power. The Most High is in you. And you're speaking his name or her name, or whatever you want to say. And so you're about to cast a spell, whatever you want to say, right? Whatever, however you want to put it. You're about to create something, okay, in your reality. So do you want to use that power to bring something forth into your reality that's going to empower you, that's going to help you overcome whatever's, you're going through? Or do you want to try to place a limit on the Most High, right? Right? And it's giving you the keys right there. So these are esoteric lessons because it's right there in your face. But they even put it in the movie with Charlton Heston when he goes up and he sees the burning bush. They even put it in there, and it went right over everybody's head. Right? I am that I am, and it's just like, oh well. They ain't even thinking. It's just like a block of wood. They sitting there watching it. I am. God is telling you his name is I am. And they ain't even thinking. No light bulbs going off, nothing, right? Okay, but there's a reason for that, which froze up last time, tried to reveal this. But these are the keys. These are the master keys. These are the degrees. Whatever you want to say it. Like, I didn't take any oaths, so I can say this. I can speak on it. All right? And actually, I'm not the first person to speak on it. So it's out there already. Okay? This is why you want to share this video. Like and share. Hit like you're watching it. Okay? Because there's several people watching right now. So make sure everybody hits like and share. Okay? So in Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry, this book is well over 100 years old. Very good book. What I was speaking on with the esoteric and exoteric lessons. All right? It says, it should be borne in mind that in modern Freemasonry, in the ancient mysteries, and in all the great religions, there was always an exoteric portion given out to the world, to the uninitiated, and an esoteric portion reserved for the initiate, and revealed only in the degrees according to the candidate demonstrating his fitness to receive, conceal, and rightly use the knowledge so imparted. All right, listen to that. Okay, so all right, this is letting you know that, like in everything pretty much, in modern Freemasonry, in the ancient mysteries, and in all the great religions, there's an exoteric portion that's given out to the world, to the uninitiated. So that's what's given out to all the blocks of wood. It's not even, they don't have any lights going off thinking deeper on it. This is what's given out to everybody. But the esoteric portion is reserved only for the initiate. Okay, only the ones who prove themselves. All right, and it's only given to them in degrees. All right, so you have to, the candidate has to prove that they can handle this power, because these are the master keys, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not a minor thing when he asks God his name and God says, I am that I am. It's like, okay, so you can't place limitations on the infinite, right? This is God. God is I am. The I am is in you. Why would you try to place a limit on that? Okay, so that's really important. And then still, some people will try to still blow this off, because I'm telling you, there's people who have read the Kabbalah or who are reading it and reading all these different books and reading all this stuff and listening to all this stuff, and then still turn around and be like, nah, man, that's BS. And it's like, look, man, like I said, I'm not making up. These are ancient secrets. This is ancient wisdom, okay? This is universal wisdom. And with the 7 Hermetic Principles, okay? We're reading from the Kybalion. So in the 7 Hermetic Principles, the first key, the master key, is the all is mind. The universe is mental. And that's why the title of this is that, okay? That's the master key. The all is mind, the universe is mental, okay? And that's the principle of mentalism, all right? This is the ultimate truth, that the all is mind. So I'm not making this up. This is real. This is so real. This is more real than all this stuff, the food that you're eating. This is realer than all that. This is realer than this carne, the meat body, right? This is realer than all that. The all is the mind, the unseen, okay? And so the all is mind. The universe is mental. This is something that we must always remember. Okay, because sometimes we're going through hardships, and the only reason we're going through it is because the I am is within us, and it's limitless, so it can overcome anything, even something that you're going through that is extremely difficult, that is like, that seems like impossible to overcome. The I am is in there to overcome it, and you are going to be a testimony to make other people have faith in, to realize that there's something more going on to life than what meets the eye, than the carne, the meat, right? Okay, and so maybe your obstacles are only there for you to overcome it. And so when you speak the name of the I am, which is within you, every time you're doing it, you have an incantation. You can speak what you want to accomplish, what you're doing. These are the degrees and keys. This is the master key. Okay, so the all is mind. The universe is mental. And they told you that the I am is the name of the Most High, and that's in you. That's just letting you know, I am, God. I am Allah. Whatever, it's in you. It's in all. Okay, it's in every blade of grass, everything. Okay, so the principle embodies the truth that all is mine. Okay? What is the all? What is that? What does this mean? It means that everything is universal, infinite, a living mind. Everything is a part of that. Okay? The entire universe, all right, is simply a mental creation of the all. All right? And that's the first key, and that's the master key. All right? And this is something that everybody needs to master. The Hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. So this is, in the past, this wasn't given away to everybody. Most people didn't know this, right? I can say it, I can reveal it because the information's out there. Like I said, I'm not taking any oaths of secrecy on that, right? This is here to help us because this is the ultimate purpose. If you're really on this path, Moorish science, if you're really Moorish American practicing Moorish science, Islamism, you are supposed to be on this path, right? So I'll say that again. The most important and the first principle, okay, is the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental, okay? But I can't just tell you that. You have to do it on your own so that you know this is real. So people are going to have to meditate and do something, whatever you need to do to connect, to go within, okay? The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, as below, so above, right? Okay, and once again, I'm reading from the Kybalion. And when it's saying in here, these are old Hermetic lessons, Hermetic, this is coming from ancient Egypt, and even in time immemorial, before Egypt, okay? Because all of these names change, right? So this is ancient universal wisdom, all right? Timeless, possibly. Okay, so as above, so below, as above, as below, so above. This also deals with the mind too, within you, all right? Because your whole entire reality is an out picture of what's going on mentally, within you. What type of thoughts are you entertaining? Are you always looking at conspiracies and things and how things are going wrong and all this stuff? Then look at your life. How is that working for you? Are you living the life? Like, I'm not saying this and I'm living in someone else's basement or living at the bus station or something messed up. Like, I'm doing good, right? And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying I know this stuff works, okay? And that's why I'm trying to share it. Well, not trying to. That's why I'm sharing it. And hopefully everybody, because there's plenty of people watching this. These likes need to get up, okay? Everybody watching right now needs to click like and share because it's not good enough for just us to watch this. This information needs to spread, okay? I know there's more people out there with the light within them that want to know, and there's even some of us that's hard-headed, that's fighting against it, okay? Because maybe it hasn't been presented in the correct way. I don't know. But this is real, and once again, like I said, I'm not making any of this up. This is why I'm just straight reading some of this, okay? The principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates. And even with that, your vibratory level, like Some of this stuff is your own thoughts, your own words and actions. What type of thoughts? Your thoughts carry a vibration. How are you speaking? What are you doing on a regular basis? Because this is what's going to come into the density of the, third or fourth or fifth dimension, wherever you think you're living at right now. That's what's going to happen, right? It starts off as a thought, and as the vibration slows down, into this reality, that's what you're going to be dealing with, right? And then on another level, on a cellular level, on a molecular level, your own body is responding to your own thoughts and words about yourself, right? You can heal yourself. You can overcome things that modern science can't even heal, right? But we're not knocking science, okay? We appreciate it, but we're just saying that there's powers latent within us that we don't even understand, okay? And then we have the principle of polarity. Everything has poles, everything has opposites. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides, rise and falls. That's number 5. Number 6, the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. Every thought also has a cause, right? And it can be in the physical. Then the principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes, right? Physical, spiritual plane, everything, right? But I think like the most important key was the first one. And I'm not really ranking them in importance. I'm just saying this is something that, hey, every Hermetic student, every Moorish scientist must master. You must master this. And we all slip. I mean, look, it doesn't mean I'm always on my toes, always like on point. But if I am slipping and I realize it and I snap right back into place, like, oh, shoot, I'm doing this to myself. I take responsibility for everything in my reality, whether I like it or not. Ho'oponopono. Look that up. That's another indigenous perspective on this wisdom, right? From Hawaii, right? Ho'oponopono. You control everything in your reality. I've told this story before too. There was a doctor, psychiatrist, or psychologist, whatever, in that island, in the Hawaiian Islands, Dr. Hugh Lin. He comes, and this is not a rumor. This is not some urban legend or something. This is real. You can look this up. He came to a mental prison, mental institute for the criminally insane, and they were basically packed full. They, were having issues, with dealing with the, I guess you could say, inmates or patients or whatever. And he was brought on to the staff, and he didn't see any of the patients personally. Like, he didn't actually talk to any of the patients. He looked over their files, and he practiced Ho'oponopono, which is indigenous Hawaiian method of taking responsibility for everything in your reality, where he would just say, well, okay, everyone that's coming across me, this is something in my reality having to do with this, and he would basically forgive it, and, for whatever happened, and like all of these people, long story short, got well. Okay, all of these people were declared sane and wound up eventually getting released. And eventually the hospital closed down because they didn't have any patients, because he was actually doing something that was unprecedented, right? Some people were, in there for, heinous crimes like murder and stuff like that. This was criminally insane. And he was getting them sent home, and they were getting well. People that's hearing voices and all types of stuff, and he wasn't even seeing them. He wasn't putting them on medication. None of these things. He's just taking responsibility for everything in his reality. Like, okay, yeah, I forgive you. I forgive, saying it to himself about himself and fixing it, okay? And I'm just sharing this to share that this is real. And hey, maybe that story works for you, and you need to go look that up, and you can try that for yourself and find out that it's real. That's another method. And that's why there's so many methods to do this. You can meditate. You can do whatever it takes for you to connect within and to know that this is real, but it is very real. Okay, you control your reality. Doesn't matter how you want to come at it. Doesn't matter what angle you're coming from, right? And so knowing that, you could look at racism and all these things that, we're going through, and get real negative and down about it, and drown yourself in that stuff, and wind up dealing with some situation in your own reality that you wouldn't have been dealing with, if you weren't getting entrenched in all of this, negative information. Like, if you really understand and take responsibility for everything, you realize that nothing can really hold you back. Nothing can hold us back, right? The only thing that could hold us back would be us collectively buying into the idea that we're inferior, the idea that we are whatever label has been placed on us. If they got a label that legally black signifies that you are at the bottom of the caste system, that you're a slave, and that in the back of everyone's mind, they're thinking this, we are creating and perpetuating that reality collectively. Okay? And so it takes more people to wake up and to realize and to start thinking differently, like, nah, we could flip this around in 2 years, 3 years or less, And so that's another thing. Like, we don't need to take up the mantle of this whole poor righteous teacher thing, And I'm not saying that to knock the nation of gods and earth. Like, I would never do that. It's not like, talking about 5%ers. I'm just saying that whole mentality that a lot of us think. You think it's righteous to be poor, or it's righteous to be struggling, or just getting by, right? Because thinking of material, the acquiring of material things is backwards, or is unholy or whatever. And it's like, look, living good, being successful or whatever you want to call it, it's not about acquiring material things. It's like people that's like that. It's like, whatever, they're low level. It's not about getting things. You can't take things with you, when you pass or whatever. All right. And you'll never be satisfied either. It's not about that. It's about the fact that, if you're calling yourself a noble, if you're a Moorish American, you're supposed to be noble. You're supposed to be, the word just slipped from my mind, but you should be impeccable. You should be successful. You should be these things because you're claiming to be these things, because this is what the ancestors are and were. And you're returning to the ways of the ancient forefathers that built civilization, built pyramids. You can't oppress these people. Okay, at one point in time, these people were enslaving those people, the people of European descent, which I'm not saying is cool either, because karma has obviously flipped, the script on Moors. So I'm saying that if you really are claiming that you shouldn't be poor, okay, and if you are, it's not knocking you, because nobody wants to hear that, but it's on you to fix that. There's nothing righteous about being poor. That's not the right passage for anyone who's enlightened. Because if you're really enlightened, everything will be in balance, right? Your health should be good. You should be prosperous, right? You should have what you need and be able to, travel and do the things that you want to do or need to do. You shouldn't have to be stressed and worried about, basic needs. These are things that you should be able to do. And not only on top of that, but you're also claiming to be royalty, to be nobility. So should be impeccable, should be, successful, and the word keeps slipping my mind, but you should be those things, right? You should embody that fully. And then part of the reason many of us aren't embodying it, and I say us, I'm doing it, and you should be doing it too. But the reason why many of us don't is because, mentally you're not there. You're not really there. You're not really noble. Because if you were, you would embody all that. It would show. It's just like if you say on another level, say you playing basketball, say your homie is telling you like he been working on his jump shot, right? He been dribbling. He got his handles down. So he's telling you he's good. He's been practicing. Okay, so when y'all go to play this pickup game, it should show, right? You can't just talk the talk. He's talking like he's an all-star, but then when y'all get out there on the court, he's making you look bad because it's not showing, right? If you're really reading these books, listening to these YouTubes or whatever you're doing, it should show physically in your life, spiritually. You know, things should be in tune, right? So like on that in the basketball, he, instead of it showing the work that he's supposed to be putting in, making y'all look retarded. He's making y'all look crazy out here, right? Right? And so it's not supposed to be like that. Like, it should show. So there is no romanticism with being poor and struggling, you know, or just getting by, right? How are we building pyramids and doing all this amazing stuff, and you know, like come on, man, in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, like the things that the masters that had the wisdom from the ancients were doing. You know, they're like literally making the water of the Nile River stand on top of itself like stairs just by uttering a few words. You know, they're able to cut the head off of a goose and separate it from the body, utter a few words, and they come together, get back on top of the goose, and it's fine, right? Right? So these people who are doing these things, that you know, probably can just say a few words and they can make the pyramids come together. So I'm saying, to be that impeccable, to be like that, you know, it should show, right? It should show. Your skin should be glowing. Should be, you know, living the life, right? Not struggling. I can't tell you these things that, yeah, I'm noble, I'm El, I'm Bay, I'm whatever, and I'm asking you for $5, right? Or I'm on the side begging for money, or, you know, or whatever people's doing, struggling. You know, it's not, that's not noble. And so that's not good. And so also that these people, you know, if you're practicing more science, you should have that master key down. And if you don't have that master key down, if you're not putting in work to master that, then you won't be embodying, you know, the ancestors, the ancients. They're not you. You're not there yet. That is the most important one, which is why I'm reading it again. It's from the Kybalion. I'm not making this up. All right. This is one of the 7 Hermetic Principles. Okay. These are the principles of truth. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. So you see, I'm not making this up. The all is mind, the universe is mental. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomenon of life, matter, energy, and in short, all that is apparent to our material senses. All of this is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as a universal, infinite, living mind. So it's really incomprehensible. You know, we can't really explain and understand the infinite, not from a human perspective, but we can say that, hey, it's a universal mind. It's all connected. It's all alive. Okay? All is mind, right? What's faster than the speed of light? The speed of thought. All is mind. This is the key. That's the master key. That's the abracadabra. You say that, you open all doors. Okay? All doors. Always. That doesn't mean you sit around thinking of stuff and everything's going to work out. Okay? In the physical density, you know, the 3rd dimension or whatever, you get up, you put in action. But you also know, while you're doing this, to be in balance with your thoughts. You can't continue doing things that haven't been working for you. Okay? If you're not living the life how you want, but you've been filling your mind up with things that aren't necessarily empowering you, then you got to switch the script. You know, flip the switch or whatever. Right? And so this is the most important. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole, in its parts or units, has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. All right, so I need to see some more likes. Click like and share this video. This information, knowledge, wisdom needs to be shared. You know, more people need to put this into action. There's really no need to complain about anything you're facing. If you know this, you know how to make it happen. You have the abracadabra right there. You have the key that opens all doors. Okay? This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and physical phenomenon that occur that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, right? And so this is why so much money is put into entertaining us, right? Why? It's not because they want to just keep us entertained and happy and watching TV and stuff. No, it's like, look, okay, on one aspect, okay, you got people that's content with the fact that their life ain't good enough because they can come home and watch TV. And so, yeah, on one aspect, that's why. But on another aspect, the bigger aspect, which is behind, you know, the real force that's driving Hollywood, right? On a smaller aspect, TV, because they do it in TV shows. But on a bigger aspect, these big blockbuster movies, it's subliminal mind control. They want to entertain you to put your mind at ease, and they put the subliminal messages in there to control how you think, how you perceive things, right? All right, to go straight to your subconscious mind. Okay, why? Because if they can, you know, do this for millions and millions of people, control the collective consciousness, then it can kind of control the reality that we're dealing with, right? And keep things how they are. Maybe you're trying to keep things like this for another 50 years or however long they can try to eke out. Okay, so it's very important. You need to control your thoughts and control what you're putting in and feeding into yourself. Like, if you're watching Hollywood Wives and all this stuff, right? Or whatever this stupid mess is, right? It's not going to be making your love life or your life or whatever you're going through better. Okay? You know, if you're watching the sad movies on Lifetime, you know, Lifetime, they always got these women that are victims, that are going through stuff. That's not empowering you as a woman. You don't need to be a victim. The creator's within you. So why are you watching stuff about, you know, this sad stuff, all this messed up stuff happening? You know, it's like, it's not empowering you. That's not. You're feeding yourself this stuff. So back to this. I mean, this is basically what I was talking about. You master this stuff. You control what you put in. You control your reality. You control what you put in. You control what you put out. Okay? And that's the simplest way to put it. And this is coming from old Egypt. From old Egypt have come the fundamental esoteric and occult teachings, which have so strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and peoples for several thousand years. Egypt, the home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of the hidden wisdom and mystic teachings. All right, from her secret doctrines, all nations have borrowed. India, Persia, Chaldea, Media, China, Japan, Assyria, ancient Greece, and Rome, and other ancient countries partook liberally at the feast of knowledge, which the Hierophants and the masters of the land of Isis so freely provided for those who came prepared to partake of the great store of mystic and occult lore, which the masterminds of that ancient land had gathered together. And this is why everyone respects the Moors. Even if they have low-key hatred, you know, everyone respects the Moors. Everyone. And this is why it's so important that our prophet came and reconnected us to our ancient forefathers, okay? Who sojourned from the lands of Egypt and settled in North, South, Central America and the adjoining islands, right? Who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle over here, right? It's like, look, we are that, okay? And as the more scientists, you must master this. And I'd say the first is most important. The all is mine. Okay, the universe is mental, and I just wanted to read that to some people just to share because, come on, man, you can't say that you Moorish American, more science, any of this stuff that you practice in more science, that you practice in Islamism. You can't say any of this stuff if you're not putting in that work, okay, and if you're not taking responsibility for everything in your reality and knowing that the all is mind, the universe is mental. That is the first Hermetic principle. How can you be the ancients if you haven't mastered that first principle, or at least working towards it? Okay, and like I said, we all slip, but you got to snap right back into place, man. You control your reality. You can't be out here saying that you are this, that you're a noble, that you're an L or a Bay, if you don't control your reality. Okay? If it's like a little name tag, it's getting snatched off. Like, you're not real. You're not doing it. Because you can't ignore the 7 Hermetic Principles, or you can't be up here saying they're not real. Okay? No, you're not real because you're not putting it to work. All right? Just because you're not, consciously creating your reality, you're creating it, but you're not doing it consciously. You're bringing things forth that you're just, undisciplined with your thoughts and what you're bringing into your reality. And so, this is not saying it to, place blame on anyone, even though it may sound like that, or to make anyone feel bad. It's just harsh because it's got to be real. This is what it is. If you're saying you're a noble, a Moorish American, and you're not practicing this, you're saying that you don't control your reality, all right? You're not taking that responsibility and knowing the power of your mind, your thoughts, and it's the universal mind that you're connected to it, then you're not really what your ancient forefathers were, because they knew this. Okay? In ancient Egypt dwelt the great adepts and masters who have never been surpassed and who seldom have been equaled. During the centuries that have taken their processional flight since the days of the great Hermes, in Egypt was located the great lodge of lodges of the mystics. At the doors of her temples entered the neophytes, who afterward, as hierophants, adepts, and masters, traveled to the 4 corners of the earth, carrying with them the precious knowledge which they were ready, anxious, and willing to pass on to those who were ready to receive the same. Okay? The students of the occult recognize the debt that they owe to these venerable masters of that ancient land. So you can't, be wearing this. You can't wear the fez or the turban and not know this, or not be working towards this. Understanding, if you're not doing it in your life, you don't just blow it off like, that mind stuff, man. Nah, man, you need to get this down, okay? And maybe before you put that fez on, you need to learn how to make this real, how to make this work. That is the true meaning behind, the word is on the tip of my tongue. All right, that is the true meaning behind the whole alchemy, okay? All right, transmuting, okay, of the different materials, all right? The true meaning behind alchemy is understanding this, that the all is the mind, all right? That you control your reality, okay? And you can't really put that fez on, which symbolizes, this 360 degrees, 720 degrees of, wisdom, understanding, knowing, not just learning, but knowing, the gnosis, to know things, right? You can't really wear that if you're not doing this. You're supposed to have mastered that, all right? And so maybe even before putting that on, if you want to be real, before putting that turban on, or wearing this, or wearing a kufiya or the fez or whatever you're doing, maybe before even putting that on, you should master these principles. Okay? All right? Or at least put in some work so that you know that it's real. Because I'm not reading this, because it's working for me. I'm reading this to share why this connects you to who you are supposed to be and why you're supposed to be living off of this. This ain't supposed to be a book. And the reason I'm doing this video is because I know this is real, right? And I'm not saying it to say like that I'm somewhere that nobody else is at. There's plenty of people who know this is real and they create their reality and they're doing it consciously. All right. Okay. So, you can't really be an adept. All right. If you're not putting this into work and understand this and controlling your thoughts. All right. And controlling your reality. Because what did it say? The Adepts knew this. They learned this. And then they went out to the four corners of the world teaching this, right? But before they could be an Adept, it said in here, regardless of where their understanding was coming into the lodge, the temple, and they're learning from the mystics, they go out as Adepts. They learn it. Okay? So you must get this. You must master this. Okay? And that's the Hermetic philosophy. Among the great masters of ancient Egypt, there once dwelt one of whom masters hailed as the master of masters. Everybody click, like, and share. This man, if man indeed he was, dwelt in Egypt in the earliest days. He was known as Hermes Trismegistus. Trismegistus. This is a name. That's a name. Hermes, though. He was the father of the occult wisdom, the founder of astrology, discoverer of alchemy. Details of his life story are lost to history, right? But, all right. And this was thousands of years ago, right? And his last incarnation on this planet is not now known, but it's been fixed at the early days of the oldest dynasties of Egypt, long before the days of Moses, right? And let's see. You know what? I didn't really mean to read that part to you, but okay, this is connecting you to the ancients, and this is letting you know what the ancients practice, or the ancient wisdom, okay? And the key, which I said again, the master key is the all is mind. The universe is mental, the all is mind. You control your thoughts, you control your reality. And that's the biggest key, okay? So the Hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and physical and psychic temple of knowledge and enter the same freely and intelligently, and using it in a haphazard manner, just being undisciplined with your thoughts. Okay? And that's how it is if you don't understand. And this is real. And so you can't really be wearing the fez, the turban, and calling yourself an elder bay if you don't know that the all is mine and that you control your reality with your thoughts. You have to master that. That's the most important. So all the Moors out there, I don't care what you're on, this is something that you should all know. And you seriously should get this down before you go out here, especially in public, wearing the fez, because there's people who, as it was explaining in here before, how all the civilizations, the current civilizations, and even past civilizations owe a debt to Egypt, ancient Egypt, right? Doesn't matter what name you want to call it, Tamori, Kemet, it doesn't matter. Look, they all owe a debt to it for the knowledge and wisdom that they got from it. So when you're wearing the fez, the turban, when you're out like this, respect is due. And there are people who know this. There are people walking around who know this, and they give respect. And so when you're wearing it, you're supposed to have these principles down, okay? So you can't be calling yourself a Moor, wearing an El Bay or a turban, fez, any of that, and you're out here saying that thoughts don't control your reality, okay? Because that means you didn't get the Hermetic Principles. And it's not talk. It's not just out here, these aren't just rumors. This is realer than you. This is realer than me. It's realer than YouTube. It's realer than, that's why I was saying Carney, the meat body. It's realer than this whole dense reality, all right? And it's incomprehensible. And it's something that you have to experience for yourself. You can't listen to this. You can't read this. The only reason that this would appeal to me is because I know it's real from practice, from action. You can read all of the books you want, and it's not going to be good enough. Okay? And we're about to end. Everybody click like and share. I'm going to read from chapter 1, the Holy Koran, the Moorish Science Temple of America, divinely prepared by our prophet Noble Drew Ali. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna skip down. All right. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, for the things that are concerned with time begin and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting of the past unto the never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah. Okay, I'm repeating that on, purpose. Just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant. So spirit man is a seed of Allah held deep within himself the attributes of every part of Allah. Now seeds are perfect, yes, as perfect as the source from which they come. Seeds are perfect as the source from which they come, but they are not unfolded unto life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is, right? So man, the seed must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow, unfold. And as does the bud unfold to show the flower, the human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of the soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So the seed, the soil, the seed, okay, is you. You are a seed of Allah, and you have the potential of Allah within you, right? Because you are a seed of Allah. And so all of these potentials are within you. What is the soil? What is the soil? It's the thoughts, the things that you are feeding your own, internally, right? This is the soil, because the seed, gets its nutrients. It gets its sustenance, from the environment, right? From the soil. It draws everything that it needs, right? And so you, with your own thoughts, you're feeding it. And so the infinite is within you, and that's why in Exodus, okay, what did God tell Moses that his name was? God says, I am that I am. What is his name? What shall I say unto them? When the children of Israel ask, what does God tell Moses? I am that I am, right? So you, as a seed of Allah, all right, you are that I am. And you have all the potential within you. And how do you place a limitation on the limitless? With the soil, with what the seed is drawing its sustenance from, is your own thoughts. Everything that's surrounding that seed is your own thoughts within your own head or whatever. Because I don't even think the thoughts really originate in here necessarily per se, but we're not going to get all into that. So the sustenance that the seed of Allah is drawing from your own thoughts. So you are placing limitations. We are placing limitations on the limitless. Okay, so that I am is in you. That I am is that seed of Allah. That's you. Okay, that's Allah within. Okay, and as we said, the soil, right? We're getting into the esoteric meaning of it. But that soil that is deeply planted in, these are your thoughts. So you want to make the soil rich and fertile so that Allah within can reach its potential. All right? Because Allah, spirit man, is a seed of Allah. You don't want to place limits on the limitless. So the soil must remain fertile. And so, in some ways, as Oh, Islam, Ramadan Mubarak. So in many ways, you know, as Moorish American Muslims, you know, we are to be farmers. We are to, you know, to make sure that we're pulling the weeds out, that we're, you know, making sure that the soil remains fertile, so that we're checking ourselves when we're falling off. You know, sometimes you could get down and completely like junk all of this thinking, everything that you're supposed to be doing, you're supposed to snap back into place. You know, that's what separates you from, you know, the beast, from the ones that's just walking out here, just dense, not even thinking on this level, right? Right? That, you know, that you, as spirit man, right? You're seed of Allah. That's the I am. That's I am. That's you. And you don't want to try to place limits on that. So that is the master key, and that's what I was reading. That's from right in the beginning because it's very important. Okay, and that's the circle 7, and that's one of the most important 7 hermetic principles, right? The circle 7, and that's the first one. The all is mental, right? The whole entire universe is mental. That's the all. That which is the fundamental truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming, but the wise men call it the all. In its essence, the all is unknowable. These are quotes from the Kybalion, right? But the report of reason must be hospitably received and treated with respect. Human reason, whose reports we must accept so long as we think it all, informs us as following regarding the all, and that without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable, the all must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside of the all, else the all would not be the all. The all must be infinite, and so you cannot place limits and bounds on the infinite, right? And we're knowing that all is mental, okay? The universe is mental, and that's the first key for a reason, all right? The universe is mental, the all is mind. We don't want to place limits on the mind. As a seed of Allah, you want to make sure that your soil, that the thoughts, okay, that you're putting, you know, around the seed of Allah, this it's drawing its sustenance from, they need to be, you know, they need to be empowering, powerful, okay? So that's the most important lesson to take from it. All right, and that's what everyone needs to put into action out there. Okay, so it's not noble to be out here making excuses for failure, for just getting by. We're living in castles, right? It's not about showing off, you know, on some I got this, you know, whatever Jordans, you know, some materialism foolishness. It's about, look, we're magnificent, and this is what gods do, all right, in the flesh. This is what they do, okay? And it's like that for a reason. We're not eking by, just getting by. You can't realize your potential if you're living in squalor or just barely above squalor, okay? Because you think that there's people like, you know, the Bill Gates and people like that out here who are able to get things done, okay? All right, if they want to affect 100 million people in the world or more, they can do it, okay? But we, as Moors, are supposed to be able to do these things too. So we must manifest it in the physical as well as in the spiritual. You cannot place limits on that, all right? Get out there and be magnificent and impeccable and amazing and do these things for real. Make it work, and don't talk like you're on it. All right, talk is cheap. You know, reading all these books or whatever people are doing out here, feeling like you're smart, that's whack. You have to live it. You have to be it, right? Okay, so I can't sit up here and I'm telling you this stuff, and then, you know, I'm living in squalor or just getting by. That's not cutting it, you know, or doing this and I'm really messed up, or, you know, no. We have to be it for real. And that's the most important lesson. And how do you get there? By knowing that you control your thoughts and you control your reality. Because the all is mine. Not because I said so, That's what Hermes said, right? These are the 7 Hermetic Principles. You know, they probably outdate Hermes Trigamestus, whatever his name was, right? This is ancient universal wisdom, and that's more science, and that's why I shared it. Make sure you click like. Make sure you click share. Um, don't keep this to yourself. I'm pretty sure if you watch this, you see why this is important. Everybody needs to know this, and so that's why I went ahead and stayed up late and put this out there. So uh, that's it on that. But everybody, click like, click share. Peace. Thanks. Make sure you go to moresinamerica.com. We're also on Instagram. Just go to @moresinamerica on Facebook too. And there's a Facebook group as well. You could just look up Moorish Americans and also like the page. So there's a like page too on Twitter and moresinamerica.com. All right. And also on Patreon, make sure you join us on Patreon and subscribe. Okay.